Alright, you're gonna need tuna. The skinless steaks, I guess. There's only 3 tuna pieces in here.
Explain that in the video. Tell your subscribers they'll buy this product. This is what they're subscribing for.
If you're impatient like I am and you need to defrost your tuna steaks as fast as possible, one thing you could do is stick them in a bowl of cold water to defrost, because right now if you knock on them,
The rock cod.
just make sure they're sealed and set that aside, and they should thaw within 20 minutes.
So for the marinade, we need like a plastic baggie, or just use a bowl. Like either one's fine. Just put plastic wrap or something on top of it. So they're already thawed. We're just gonna open them up, put them in here, and we're gonna put the marinade in here. Marinade is soy sauce. Water.
For the spices, we're starting off with Japanese 7-spice. You're gonna want 1 teaspoon in there, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, and the juice of half of a lemon. Get out your thawed steaks and place them into the marinade. Seal it up and place them into the fridge for about 20 minutes. Today I'm using frozen mango chunks as one of our toppings. I couldn't find any ripe mangoes at the store, but you can use whichever you prefer. I'm going to measure out a cup of mango and then place it in the fridge to thaw while we cook. Measure out 1.5 cups of sushi rice. Make sure to rinse your rice at least once. I know a lot of people get upsetty if you skip this step, so I'm mainly doing it so I won't get yelled at.
This pot back. That's oh. And that's 2 cups.
After adding 2 cups of water to your pot of rice, cover it with a lid and let the rice soak off of the heat for 15 minutes. While the rice is soaking, we could prepare our toppings. Start off with chopping up some green onions. Next, I'm grabbing a cucumber and slicing it down the middle, or horizontally, I guess.
Alright. So in half first, and then in half one more time.
Now we're gonna cut up the cucumbers into little squares or bite-sized pieces, whatever you want to call it. After cutting up our toppings, I'm going to place them into a container and store them in the fridge until we're ready to use them. So it's been 15 minutes, our rice is all soaked, and we're ready to start cooking. Turn on the heat to medium-high and let the water come to a low boil. Once it's at a low boil, add half a teaspoon of black pepper and some salt to taste.
We're gonna add in a 4th teaspoon of salt.
Once you've lightly seasoned the rice, stir it around, cover it with a lid, and lower the heat all the way down to low. We're gonna let this cook on low heat for 20 minutes. Once it reaches 20 minutes, remove it from the heat and let it rest for an additional 5 minutes before removing the lid. Right now is the perfect time to prepare the rice seasoning. For this, we're going to need 1/4 cup rice vinegar, 2 teaspoons of salt, and an optional half a teaspoon of MSG, and whisk it all up. After 20 minutes of cooking the rice and letting it rest for 5 more minutes, I'm going to take off the lid and let it cool down a bit before adding in the rice seasoning we just made. The rice seasoning ensures that the rice is sticky and it adds some nice flavor as well. To incorporate it, I'm pouring the liquid over my spatula and fluffing the rice. Alright, the rice is done. Now let's get out the marinated tuna steaks. To a pan, we want to add 1 to 2 tablespoons of frying oil. This can be any oil you like. I'm using canola oil. Get the pan super hot and then get the steaks in there. So we want to cook these on each side, including the edges, for about a minute so that it comes out almost like a medium rare. But if you like your tuna fully cooked, I would recommend cooking it for about 3 minutes on each side. So the importance of having a really hot pan for this is so that you could get a nice sear on each side. I like getting the edges as well, just so that when you cut into it, it looks really nice. Once that's done, we're gonna cut these guys into bite-sized pieces. Make sure that you let them rest a little bit, because if not, then you might get some cuts like these. They look a little rough, but it's okay. After slicing the tuna, the good news is that we can move onto plating up our dish. Look how pink that is, by the way. Gee, Alright, let's get a bowl of that sticky sushi rice we made earlier. Let's add in our cucumber, some mango, and some tuna. Let's get some avocado in there as well. I waited until the end to add this so that it didn't turn brown while we waited for everything to finish cooking. I also had a bit of leftover salmon, so I added that in as well, but it's not necessary. Added in some corn. As an extra flavor booster, I'm adding in some furikake, but you could also use everything but the bagel seasoning. That's really good too. And the final thing we need is some sriracha mayo for the dressing. This just ties everything in together and it's really good.